Hello everyone and welcome to this, my inaugural video of Let's Examine Resident Evil 5. This will be part 1. You know who you are, and my friends, family, and loan sharks know me as David. Just a quick sort of explanation thing. I'm choosing to call these videos Let's Examine instead of Let's Play for a couple of reasons. The first being that I'm recording this actually after I've already played and captured some video. So it's not going to be a live commentary, like, if you've ever seen regular Let's Plays videos before. Second, I'm going to be sticking to the most part for sort of older games I've already played. Not that I don't like, that I played a couple times. Not that I don't like newer games. I'm playing through Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a 2014 release right now. But I'm going to play through some older games that I have a bit of familiarity with. I'm just doing some first-time setup stuff, as this is the first time I'm loading this up on my computer. I've played through it before quite a few times on the Xbox. I want to make sure that I don't get any sort of uninvited co-op partners. This is a co-op game. I'm playing through it by myself, though, this time. Which I don't really think is the best way to experience this game, but it's how I'm going to do it. So, now we are starting the game. Resident Evil 5 came out in 2009. And actually, despite the name, it is the seventh... Well, it's the seventh major release in sort of the main core Resident Evil games. After Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, 3, Code Veronica X when it was released on the PlayStation and GameCube. Resident Evil 4. Oh, I forgot. Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil Remake, which I consider, like its own separate game because it's different enough. Resident Evil 4, and then this. So you can see already, we're sort of in the intro video. We don't know who these two characters are. But, ooh, that doesn't look, good at all. That guy looks like he's had some bad sushi or something. That masked character. We'll come back. This guy, maybe not. And then we also see sort of these Navy SEAL, Delta Sea guys. These guys are, we'll learn in just a second, part of the BSAA, which is the, I forget exactly what it stands for, but it'll tell us to it. They're basically sort of like a UN peacekeeping force devoted to taking care of biological outbreaks. Biological outbreaks of biological weapons, which is sort of like in the Resident Evil universe, the way Corporation proves how powerful it is to act evil and have the biggest, baddest bioweapons possible. So now we're getting introduction to our... Yeah, see? If I just waited 30 seconds, he would have heard it all. So now we're getting a little introduction to our main character of the game, Chris Redfield. Chris was one of the original player characters in the very first Resident Evil game. Back then, he was very much... I think he was introduced when he was first 25 and part of the Raccoon City Stars Police Force Special Secret Super SWAT team type guy. Chris sort of started off as like a all-American, sort of good guy. But this is the first game he'd appeared in, I think, 9 years since Code Veronica in 2000. So his character is a little, now he's like a big, burly, muscle football guy. This is Sheva. She's the other character. That's all you need to know about Sheva. She has no personality. She gets a backstory introduced in a later cutscene, and her full story is introduced and resolved in that same scene.
So you'll be accompanying me to the destination?
Yes.
Which, to me, is kind of example of a bad character.
I'll bet.
Chris's character in this game is he's the military determined American guy. He gets a little bit more development later on, but we'll come to that.
You'll do just fine.
There is some... Oh, now we're getting back. Jill Valentine is the other character from the very first Resident Evil game, who up to this point has sort of been... I think she's the character that may have appeared in the most Resident Evil games up to this point.
Yeah, sorry.
She was a star by herself in Resident Evil 3. What to say about Jill? Kind of like Chris, Jill was sort of first introduced as special badass police guy, police girl in this case.
It's all worth fighting for.
She was introduced when she was first 23 in the first game, and sort of erroneously was a retired Delta Force member at that point, which is way too young, and and apparently Delta Force, at least according to people I've heard about complaining about online, doesn't accept women, so that doesn't make sense.
There is one thing I do know. I have a job to do.
Yep, that's Chris's character. So right now, if you weren't reading the subtitles, which I put on exactly so you could hear so you can figure out what's going on as I'm talking. Chris has sort of been dispatched to this town in Central Africa where some black market weapons deals are going down. And he has to sort of investigate what's going on and figure out if there's any connection to an ongoing investigation. And those guys in the... Yep, here's some little story stuff. Again, if I just wait 30 seconds.
Chris here.
So let's let Kirk, who's sort of your helicopter support NPC.
There's a black market weapons deal going down in Kijuju.
We have no idea who Irving is at this point. Just some bad guy.
Alpha team has already infiltrated the area, and you will be going in as backup. Rendezvous with your contact at the butcher's shop. You can gear up and get briefed on the mission there.
So as you can see, this is going to be an over-the-person, third-person shooter game, which was sort of, you can turn around. You get a little map in your upper right. This is just me getting used to the controls, because it's been a little while since I played this game. Third-person over-the-shooter setup was actually sort of pioneered by Resident Evil 4 back in 2005, so, this is sort of the next successor to that. But that was sort of exploded and sort of took over third-person action games. If you've ever played anything like with the Uncharted games, Gears of War, those are sort of big, third-person action games over the shoulder. But they've sort of taken the control scheme and sort of improved upon it quite a bit. Because as I'll get to in a little bit, even though this game came out 4 years after third-person over-the-shoulder mechanics was introduced, it did not really take into account a lot of the advancements that were made from Resident Evil 4. Oh, quick part of mystery, where all the guys go? Some angry on the radio there? It'll be important later. I guess this is sort of a good point to start talking about sort of... Well, let the atmosphere sink in a little bit before I get to where I'm going. So yeah, still up to this point, you don't really know what's going on. That's very much reminiscent of the Resident Evil 4, where after the first big firefight of the game, everyone runs away and you're sort of left by yourself in town square, like thinking, huh? Actually, Leon, the main character of that game, actually specifically says, what is it, bingo night? So now we're going to go up to this, meet our informant.
Chris Redfield.
Apparently he can talk to us, say who we are, know that he knows us, but he can't listen through the front door. Not exactly the best undercover. Just testing out some more game mechanics. Yep, you can, if you double tap the open button, you'll quickly kick open the door. I really like this guy. He's sort of reminiscent of another character from Resident Evil 4 called the Merchant, who was sort of like a pirate European guy who was like really mysterious and would sell you weapons. I honestly wish this guy was in more of the game.
You should do what you came here to do and go home.
Yeah, they really roll out the red carpet for us Americans.
Oh, Chris is so funny. Not.
I have your weapons for you here.
Wait, why didn't I bring my weapons with me?
Sure.
That's the thing, so I'm allowed to sort of like drive up in a Hummer and sort of show that I'm like an American like special agent, but like I can't bring my gun with me. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. So now we get our first one. And then right away, we realize we have no ammo, and we're sort of introduced to like this real-time item management system that is pretty cool, but also has quite a few frustrations. It's real-time, so you can sort of play in co-op, and so each of the two players can sort of manage their inventory, but it's kind of ticks you off a bit when you're playing by yourself. Because Resident Evil 4 had all the Resident Evil games up to this point had a...
What do you know about
Isn't it the snake that eats itself?
Mostly just rumors. Something about.
Don't worry about it. It won't be important later.
Doomsday sounds about right, and apparently it is no rumor.
You're kidding, right?
You must find the
Yeah,
man
we get it. We're supposed to find Irving.
He is our only lead.
Yeah, that's kind of... I don't even know if that's like foreshadowing. Like, that's kind of like bonk bonk over the head. This is going to be important later. It's not... Resident Evil games are not exactly known for their subtlety. The fourth one actually sort of takes it to extreme of being like over the top like action game and like really benefits from it. Oh, conveniently placed wood crate. So now we're gonna bring up some of the context controls. Knife is sort of a backup weapon you always have. It was really, really good in Resident Evil 4. Really powerful. And this game was nerfed a bit, sort of taking down power. Because I think in part because it was like you could pretty easily get through Resident. I've done it. You can pretty easily get through Resident Evil. Not easily. But you can do it. Get through the whole game with sort of just your starting weapon, the knife, and a couple like context-sensitive weapons like you pick up, like rocket launchers and stuff. I think coming up in a mitten, I'm going to be switching the control scheme. The default control scheme sort of is very similar to like what most third-person shooters are today, where you know, left trigger to aim, right trigger to shoot. I actually like, for this game at least, to sort of change it up a bit, where you just use basically the right trigger for everything, right trigger and face buttons A, B, X, Y, to take care of the gun. I don't know why. I think it's because that's how Resident Evil 4 did it, and it just feels a bit more. You know, even though it's a bit archaic by now, and that's actually one of the things I was saying earlier, this game didn't really... Yeah, here I am doing it right now. I think that just because it sort of fits with how the whole legacy of the series, it feels better. So yeah, Resident Evil... The original, you know, old Resident Evil games had, like, what would be called tank-style controls, where sort of you, like, turned your character and then move them in a direction. You couldn't, like, really, you know, move and aim. You know, move and shoot at the same time. Yeah, you have to plant yourself on the ground when you shoot. I think it adds a bit of tension. Definitely adds a bit of tension to the game. You know, because they're supposed to be survival horror games. But I think this game, Resident Evil 4, sort of is where the series started. It definitely peaked in terms of what I consider enjoyment. But I think it's really where it sort of transitioned away from like survival horror to more like action horror, whereas an action game with horror elements. And having sort of the use to plant yourself to shoot, especially, you know, now where you can move around and shoot and move and everything, it doesn't really gel well with the atmosphere, I guess is the right word. Yep, so just picking up some healing items here, sort of a holdover from older games. And actually just think
Did you hear that?
series hasn't. You use herbs to heal. Green herb by themselves deals, you know, some damage, heal some. Green plus red together heals everything. So yeah, that's a little frustration. You can't go into the next area without your partner. You have to both be there, which makes sense in co-op, but when you're playing by yourself, it's kind of frustrating. So now, let's see what's going on here. They don't even announce themselves. Like, don't cops have to do that? Oh, this looks weird. Oh, tasty. Spaghetti and meatballs. What the hell? I guess they didn't want to freeze. This is something that's sort of typical to all Resident Evil games. You play for a couple minutes, and then you encounter the first, well, they'd be called zombies in earlier games. I forget, I think they're called the Magini in this game, because in Resident Evil 4, sort of restart the series where there's like a parasite that takes over people, and like they're not exactly zombies, but they're like not thinking for themselves. It's sort of held over for this game where it's a parasite taking over people instead of a virus, like transforming them into zombies. I don't think he was okay, Chris. Ooh, jump scare. Yeah, and once you know what to do, like, this isn't scary at all. Like, because you shoot them once you get really good at combat at casing, you just realize you just always shoot them in the knee or right in the head to sort of stumble them, and then you can use context-sensitive melee attacks.
They didn't move like any zombies I've ever seen.
Zombies are the older games where, you know, very slow-moving, sort of like Romero-style zombies. Whereas these ones, Resident Evil 4 and past, are very much sort of the 28 days later, you know, they're infected, you know, taken over by a parasite. They're not, you know, they're not zombies. Just a quick word, I think, what was I going to say? Completely forget. Yeah. Oh, okay, now we're going to pick up some ammo. This game is very liberal with its ammo. There's one part coming up, which is, I think, is really only the part in the game that you have to like worry about running out of ammo. Whereas Resident Evil 4 was very much, you know, you don't actually count bullet by bullet in that game, but like you always have to be aware of it, and you could sort of stumble upon all the healing items you needed. In this game, you know, they give you tons of ammo, but you have to be very careful with your healing items. That you can easily run out of. The ammo thing is even further ameliorated by another feature that I will get to in a later video. Basically, the way this game is sort of set up in like a chapter system, you can go to old chapters and bring your items into them, but also bring in the items you pick up in them out of the game, so you can sort of farm resources. So now we're just running away from a zombie horde into this building. Chris doesn't even care, like he just leaves Sheva right behind.
Come in, Kirk.
Yep, here's a red herb.
We had to use force.
So yeah, you can combine using the menu pretty easily. Just because of how the inventory system,
Was HQ expecting this?
because of how the inventory system works, you can only have 9 items equipped. Ammo can stack, but not a ton. You're gonna have to get really good at managing your inventory in this game, sort of on the fly in real time. This is another little. This is actually kind of cool. There are a couple things like you have to do with your partner, like kick down doors because it's too strong. It's a classic Resident Evil thing where you can like find items and sort of examine them as you go by. It's a giant axe. Don't think it's been used on trees. I really want to like. I hope in like, going forward they sort of have like all the flavor text, little text that pops up read out loud by the characters. Barrels are always full of ammo in video games. It's actually not true. In video games, barrels sort of exist in 2 states. Either they're full of goodies, or they're red and they blow up when you shoot them. There's really... That's sort of the... Okay, so now we're going to get to the... Yep, so Sheva...
I owe you one.
Sheva has her own weapons.
Use this.
Well, actually, in single player, you sort of control you manage the inventory of both characters. So you have to be really mindful of your Sheva, or on second playthrough, if you play as Sheva, which you can on subsequent playthroughs, you have to be careful of Chris's inventory, because they'll go through ammo like no man's business, and they'll just use up healing items really quickly. That being said, I think for the vast majority of this playthrough, I'm going to give Sheva all the herbs just so I can have my inventory pretty open, for having mainly things like shotguns and wrenches. You can't pick up wrenches. But so I can hold on to the weapons and use them pretty effectively, and sort of give her one weapon, sort of as a stand, she uses throughout the whole game, and I upgrade as I go through. More herbs, more ammo. That should tell us something. Giving ammo and herbs. Oh, and we're going to a cutscene. Look around. I hear something in the corner. Oh. What's going on over there? It's a pep rally for the local sports team. Oh, yes, we will defeat them. We will kick them. Who has spirit? We have spirit. Yes. Yes, we will crush them. We will beat them in the semifinals. Our football will football harder. Ah, there's that guy again. He's gonna be fine. Don't worry about him.
Wait a minute.
That's the what? No, don't say it. Don't say he's the NPC who gave us weapons. He's not as cool as the merchant was. There's the team mascot. So these guys are the Kijuju butchers, apparently. Just showing off his sweet. That didn't. I think this is a little thing that the game sort of falls upon. Like, you never, that falls short. You never really realize why these townspeople are angry. I think it's supposed to be they're all infected, but I think it could have been really cool if maybe they were, if there's a story about, like a rural village in Central Africa, sort of being exploited by like biotech companies. That would have been a really cool story, I think. Instead, the game starts off with this kind of like Black Hawk Down style thing that retransmits back to gameplay. This section is very intentionally reminiscent of one of the best set pieces in Resident Evil 4, where you're sort of stuck in a cabin, and you have to, you were stuck in a cabin with 2 NPCs. Remember kids, fruit always contains ammo, unless it contains gold. We were stuck in a cabin with 2 NPCs, and you sort of have to hold out for a couple minutes and defend against some zombies. So I'm just running to place, blocking some windows. Just gonna quickly, go around. Make sure you definitely pick up everything in here, because little thing you only realize, after you play the game a couple times is that, so without spoiling anything, you're gonna survive. Your character's supposed to survive, and you're gonna have a couple minutes afterwards where you can explore this whole area. But all the pickups, ammo, money, goes away. So you definitely want to make sure you want to pick them up before the fight ends. Which I'm gonna do after. Because there's 2 parts of this battle. So there's the opening part where you're sort of stuck here, inside. Oh yeah, just knife them. You'd think hitting with a big knife like that, there'd be like cuts and gashes. No, they just sort of like, wither in pain. Although I guess they are sort of infected, so I don't really know. Stereotypical, this sort of village mob. Oh, right in the kisser. This village mob would only be more stereotypical if they had torches and pitchforks. yeah, you know, if you are sort of just constantly scanning everything, this isn't that hard of a fight. That being said, I will say this is probably the only time in the game, especially on first playthrough, where there's really like you actually feel like a lot of tension, because you only have your starting weapons. You don't have a ton of ammo. Actually, wait, I take that back. I just realized, looking at the counter, I have over 106 extra rounds. Yep. So again, a little context-sensitive thing. If your partner's there's just all these little quick time events. Some people sort of talk about quick time events today and think about they get overused, but as long as they're done well, like I think they're done well here, that it can add a little bit of tension. Okay, so there comes the big guy with the axe. Now you can fight him, which I'm going to at some point. But at this point, you only have your pistol, so you can't do a ton of damage to him. So you have to be a little creative, which I think is a thing that Resident Evil games even do actually pretty well, making sort of boss fights as puzzles, which I think that boss fights should. They shouldn't just be a bad guy with extra health. They should sort of be a final exam thing where there's a bit of brain work going, where you have to figure out what's weakness, what do you have to do. So yeah, I blew up those barrels, did a bunch of damage to all the guys plus the big guy, and so I'm just gonna go loot a bit, pick up some grenades. Those are pretty useful late in the game. Pick up some more ammo. Of course, there are people just like, if these people have ammo in their village, why don't they have guns? They just leave ammo like in their fruit. They don't have any guns. Okay, so they do have a gun. It's a machine gun. Overall, I don't really like the machine guns in this game that much because they don't really do a ton of power and they eat up ammo really quickly. But there's a couple that actually one I'll find later that actually does not half bad damage, especially once you start to upgrade it. And so I usually give that to Sheva and let her use the machine gun as sort of her main weapon. Use the grenades. Okay. So a little trick to this battle. You want to try to stun this guy either using grenades or sort of barrels, and then kick his butt using melee attacks. The context-sensitive melee attacks in this game do a lot of damage. I'm not entirely sure the numbers because I'm not that tech savvy and haven't exactly gotten to like look into the code of the game. But on average, they do. I've seen they're pretty powerful.
We've got to hold out till Kurt gets here.
So just picking up more ammo, picking up some more supplies. Yeah, I think now I may have used up all my healing items, so this is sort of where this fight gets a little difficult. Ooh! Yeah, so getting hit, but that doesn't kill you. This thing, if you take enough damage, you don't die automatically, so sort of go into this like dead state. Oh, now I'm out of healing items. Crap, this is not gonna be good. Where your enemy can oh no, I have more. I didn't realize. Where your ally can sort of come and just give you a pat on the back, and sort of bring you back to life. I think that's kind of silly, but it is much better than power of context-sensitive melee attacks. Oh, and the other good thing that I'll use sort of as an exploit later in the game is that the animation doing melee attacks makes you invincible, which is really helpful at certain points in the game where you're fighting just a ton of enemies who can like okay, I think is he dead? No, he's still up. This guy's got a lot of health. Again, if this is your first playthrough and you don't really know what you're doing, I would just recommend just running away from him, because I think I'm playing on normal difficulty. I think you have to survive for 5 minutes, maybe 7. It's really not that hard to avoid these guys if you just keep running around the map. But that's no fun. What I want to, in addition to sort of, giving you more than just, tips for how to play the game, I would, or just, a rote walkthrough. I want to make sure to sort of give some tips for the game, where are the secrets, what are some good strategies for the game, as well as my own, sort of thinking. Yeah, there he's dead. Yeah, that's how it always is with bosses, I find, especially. Okay, so I just picked up treasure for him. Throughout the game, there are literally treasures that you can sell to a point I'll get to in a bit. You can also use the money you pick up, and you can buy new weapons and upgrade your weapons. What was I saying? I forget exactly what I was saying before. Oh, right. That's how it always is with bosses. Like you use up all your big resources and you do these big attacks, But it's always, like, like a little tiny weapon, like after you used up, like, oh, you used up all your rockets, so like, oh, just, it's gonna be the bullet, the down finally downs him. I find that's always how it is with enemies in these games. Yep. Okay. So now we waited long enough. Now in this cutscene, Kirk sort of, even though I was just being held onto by a zombie, now there's, Magini. That's what I'm gonna try to refer to him as, Magini, because that's what they're called in the game. I'm perfectly fine and they're not wrong. So now Kirk shows up in his helicopter and he closes the door. What a good support NPC. I wish that. It does feel very a little Deus Ex Machina-y, where it's like, and then the chapter's done. Okay, so scores. At the end of each chapter, you get a score based on your accuracy, enemies killed, lives died, clear time. I'm not gonna really keep track of that. Okay, here's the little the merchant screen. Yes, I'm gonna take that away from Sheva. I'm gonna make sure she's only using the machine gun. In Resident Evil 4, there was like the merchant character would appear, and you do this all through him. But in this game, because they want to be slightly less fun than that game. Okay, so here's me sort of misremembering how to upgrade weapons. For some reason, I thought when I was going through this that you have to like go into the buy menu to upgrade them. Okay, selling off that treasure. What you're supposed to do is, yes, I'm gonna make a mistake. Okay, now I'm sort of pausing here because like, crap, I spent a lot of gold that I really don't have the money for. Like, should I restart the game? No, that's not what I'm gonna do. So what you're supposed to do is, you're supposed to, yeah, I see, I'm very close to, I think I just figured out. You're supposed to go over the item. Yep, still, yep, and you're gonna hit scroll down to the upgrade thing, and this is where you sort of pay money to upgrade, things like firepower, capacity, reload speed, and there's some special things, like chance to do a headshot. This first gun that you find in the game, I think it's like the M92, yeah, M92F. First playthrough, I'd recommend just holding on to it. It's not the most powerful handgun in the game, but it can upgrade to have 100 rounds in the clip, which is quite a few, and you can sort of upgrade the critical there. Did you see? I think I made. No, I'm not gonna do it here. If you upgrade the, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. By the if you keep upgrading it, by the end of the game you sort of have powerful enough where, in my experience, maybe 1 in 3, 1 in 4 times you hit an enemy with the with the round of it, it just blows off their head. So I would definitely recommend holding on to that, especially at least the first time. On later playthroughs where you have you can unlock infinite ammunition, and you can have a lot of money, then you can sort of diversify a bit. But for the first playthrough, I would definitely recommend just sort of sticking to the weapons that you find in the game and not really buying any. Because you'll find quite a few. I picked up that machine gun, and I think I may be finding. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be finding another one in this level. I'm fairly certain. Yes, I will be. So everything's quieted down for a bit, which I think that is a thing this game does pretty well. Instead of if you sort of old style shooter games which is constant crescendo, this one sort of got peaks and valleys, and that very much helps make the tension special. So this is me. So now I'm running around because I know that there are some barrels down there, but I can't figure out how to get to them. Jump down. Okay, they're not over. Yeah, this is just something I know from playing the game a few times in the past, that I know there's some collectibles down here, but I can't exactly remember how to get to them. Okay, so they're on the other side of this wall. So that tells me, okay, I haven't gotten there yet, so, I'll be able to get there soon. That's just a really simple game design thing. But I do love it when games show you that it's, you can't get this yet, but you'll be able to get it soon. This is sort of, very simple. If you just wait 20 seconds, you'll be able to find it. Yeah, where? Ah, there it is. No, that's not it. Oh, there's a hole there. Am I gonna see it before I go through these doors? Nope, I didn't. There's a hole there if I drop down. I'd go to like a little underground section. Okay, more of the village here. So now we're hearing about characters who we don't know their names are. You know, you're getting a bit of context of what's going on, but that is a little frustrating. You know, you're hearing about these people who you have no idea who these are. You know who Kirk is, and Matheson, you know, he's presumably one of those guys who's done the intro cinematic, but still, you know. Although, you know, I don't really know what a good way to do it is. You know, you don't really want to have a scene that's like, oh, hello, Chris, this is Matheson, and he will be doing a mission while you're in Kijuju. But, you know, you do want some context. That's sort of the difference between, you know, a good game and a great game. This is a very fun game, but it's no, you know, it's not. Resident Evil 4 is actually great. Okay, so here's a ladder. So this is another one of those context things. I honestly think the game sort of forgets about these. You know, the game designer sort of forgot that they did this about 2/3 of the way through. Like, you can send off Sheva. You can send off Sheva into like one path to be covered with another. It'll be used quite effectively, but honestly, I think they just forgot about that little thing they used. Okay, so again, we're gonna see a key there. During that little cutscene, she saw a key that we definitely want to grab because it'll let us. Oh, Chris would hit a girl. What a jerk. Yeah. Yeah, the combat's still really easy at this point because you're only fighting 1 or 2 guys at a time. I'm not talking right now because I want, you know, you definitely want to be able to hear what's going on. Your Alpha team, who, yes, are the guys you saw in the beginning, they sort of went in ahead of you, and something's happening to them, but you're not entirely sure what at this point. We're going to see them in maybe another... We're going to see what's happening to them maybe another 10, 15 minutes. But, again, that's, you know, a nice little mystery hook. Actually, a really common thing in Resident Evil, you sort of always play... I'm trying to think... Okay, not always, but quite a few times, you know, the first Resident Evil game, definitely, where you sort of play, you know, characters sort of go in after something's already happened. You know, like characters of all, you know, non-player characters, so sort of already gone in and tried to done a mission, but they failed, somehow they got attacked, and you have to go and sort of clean up their mess. That's one of my favorite things in fiction. I think a great example is if you've ever seen Aliens, where Ripley and the Space Marines sort of go to the colony after like stuff's already happened, and I always love that. You know, it's like you go like the cleanup guys, like something bad's I don't know what, something bad's happening. Like you have to go and like figure out what happened. BioShock or System Shock 2 are very similar. You know, you sort of wake up. Did I just walk past that ladder? Oh, I see. I'm going down to dead end. Yeah. If you can't tell, I've actually already played and recorded this footage, so now I'm doing sort of like post commentary. But what was I saying? Yeah, I always really like. Okay, so now it's, you know, another one of those sections where Sheva's gonna go on ahead. And she's up there in the top right corner. Oh, she picked up the building key. So again, I turned around right then because I knew. Yeah, I'm very familiar with the scripting of this game because I played a few times, especially this early point. But yeah, very quickly after these 2 guys are gonna drop down, or that guy and that woman are gonna drop down. And you don't want them to surprise you because you're by yourself right now, and Sheva's a bit off, so they can sort of ruin your day. But yeah, I was just saying, you know, one of my sort of favorite, I don't even know if it's a trope, like storytelling setups, is a thing where, you know, like your character either wakes up or like goes in after something bad's already happened, and you have to sort of piece together exactly what's going on, or, you know, clean up other characters' mess. Yeah, just make sure, you know, just give me Sheva machine gun ammo. I think I eventually get to the point where I've upgraded the clip of her gun so much that I don't actually start her off with any each mission. Oh, I just want to say during that little merchant thing, that's sort of, you saw at the bottom of the corner of the screen, I didn't really describe it, there's like a bank you can sort of like put ammo and weapons and healing items in so you can sort of access them between missions. It doesn't really make sense in terms of like, you know, it's in terms of like the game, like where are you putting those when you're playing the game? Like, where's Chris putting that stuff? That's very much, you know, gameplay story segregation thing. But, you know, it's one that works well for me. Okay. Yep, uppercut. Tiger uppercut. I think it's called the Shoryuken. I'm not a big Street Fighter fan, so if someone knows, please correct me. Well, if you want to take the time out of it. Oh! I just, That character model, since I first played this game, I thought it looks like Saddam Hussein, and I just broke Saddam Hussein's neck. I don't know why I think that. Maybe it was intentional. It's locked from the inside. Okay, I can't get in there. So this is a building you don't have to go into for the game. There are 3 entrances. Only one of them you can get into. You'd only go in there because there are some goodies you can get through. Okay, this is just me sort of trying to figure out, trying to remember. I think it's this end. Yeah, it's the bottom one I can open. I haven't used that key yet though. So get a hold on to, ooh, shotgun shells. I haven't found a shotgun yet, but that, again, you know, if you sort of play games a lot, and you start to think about things. If you played a lot of games, you know, you sort of pick up things. Okay, it's like, okay, I picked this up. I don't have, you know, I picked up this item. You know, that should be a clue that I'm going to be picking up this item later. And you sort of, one leads into it, you know. The shotgun ammo leads into the fact that I'll have a shotgun at some point. You know, presumably the not too distant future. Again, that's just a nice little sort of, you know, design / development thing where it's like you lead the player along a certain mental pathway. And, you know, not a huge thing, but okay, first aid sprays. Those are important, you know. Those are the only healing item you can buy in the store, and they'll just fully heal up your health. Gold. Anything over here? Nope. Good, go back. Okay, guys, get stumbled out. Yep. Just 1 each, they'll go down, stomp on that guy's chest. But, you know, because Chris is a gentleman, you know, he won't stomp on the lady's chest. He'll give her a fair fight. You know. Except when he, you know, cuts her up like that. You know, that's... You never really think about, you know, like how gruesome video games are when you're playing. Actually, I don't usually think about like how violent games are when I'm playing them. It's like when you're watching, it's like you do some gnarly stuff in this game. Okay, chests. There aren't a ton of chests in the game, and they're all sort of conspicuously out of place. But whenever you see one, it's like sort of a measure. It's like, okay, there's some goodies in here. Textually, button jump down. Yep, just heal up a bit. Because there's a door. I don't think there's anything bad around the other side of this door, but that's, again, should always be a signal. So, this scene, I'm going to bring up something. For anyone who's paying attention to video games, media coverage, 2007, sort of onwards, this game was sort of, from the beginning, sort of, this is where I'm going to be using the K, because the back there is the shotgun. What was I saying? If you were following this game, sort of when it was first announced at E3 2007, it was sort of hit by racism accusations, because, you know, Chris is a white guy, and he's in Africa, and he's killing people in Africa, you know, who, you know, are black. So is it racist or not? I don't think it is. But that scene right there, where there was the white, you know, sort of white blonde, you know, stereotypical European American, Anglo-American, attractive, quote unquote, attractive woman, being sort of hauled back by the, you know, if not African, then at least, you know, sort of, you know, I've taken anthropology classes, so I'm trying to think, you know, so I'm trying to be careful of what I say, you know, not to be, you know, unintentionally offensive, or sociology classes as well. I'm trying to think, exotic looking, you know, here's the word, non-Western looking men, was definitely shot with a bit of the, you know, old racism card when it first came out. Personally, again, I don't think the game's racist. Because I do think it sort of boils down to, you know, Chris is fighting zombies in Africa, so.
Hey, what's wrong?
Bajini, sorry.
Be careful. They may still be here.
They may still be here. Okay, they're gone. So everything's fine, right? Oh, and Chris has got a new girlfriend. Yes, I just need someone to grab on. I don't even know what she's trying to do. Oh, she got a thing for this. They put a thing in there for this. Wow. Sheva does not know anything about firearm safety. She just shot right next to her partner. I do, you know, I do like how quickly, like, Chris sort of, you know, like, started working with Sheva. It's like, hi, I'm oh shit. What the hell just happened? Okay, that's a, you know, again, that's the thing. Yeah, I do know what happened, but it was good to know that was happened, but yeah, every now and then when you're fighting the Majini in this game, I don't know if it's triggered by trying to shoot off their head, or if they're taking up, you know, like, certain enemies. I know how it works in Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 4, where sort of where you enter a screen, where you enter a new loaded area, certain enemies are designated as having, you know, things pop out of their head when the game loads, and it was sort of triggered on if you try to shoot their head off, they would sprout that. I'm not entirely sure how it works in this game. I assume it's very similar. But yeah, basically, every now and then when you're fighting enemies, either when they're getting very close to death, what would be death if you're doing regular damage. Shev is shooting at some guy out there. She's just wasting ammo right now as I go around picking up another treasure. But once you do enough damage, you shoot their head off, they'll sort of sprout one of those things. And you just have to, you have to make sure to aim at the, I think they're called cephalo. That's sort of what the game calls them, or like the in-game documentation calls them. Yeah, just to make sure to aim at them and do damage. So yeah, if you were reading the subtitles there while I was talking, you just hear some more sort of going down. And wherever this deal operation that's going down that the BSA is trying to take care of, they're just calling, the Alpha team is just calling for reinforcements because they're getting their asses handed to them. And we are very close actually to where the deal. Like I honestly don't know why Chris wasn't part of Alpha team. Like I don't really know what's trying to be accomplished. Is he trying to find Irving by himself? It's never really discussed that well. It's never really laid out to you what your mission is, until it's, or what Chris's mission is, I guess. Okay, now we're sort of, clutching our chest because we're in pain, but we only have a big healing item. I don't really want to use that because, again, I know that there's a, fights coming up later. One in particular I'm thinking of right now. So I know I have to go through that door, because also if you're looking at the map up in the right-hand corner, it's, yeah, this is something that I'll come back to. I forget. Do you have to shoot him off? Yeah, so there's locks. And, oh, yeah, it's just, you can't knife him. You can't shoot him. Apparently the force of the bullet hitting him isn't enough as the force of Chris trying to kick the door open. What was I saying? In the minimap, if you're get lost, the minimap in this game isn't that good, but what it does do well is, if you ever look at the sort of blinking yellow light about where you have to go, where your destination is. And it can be a little confusing because, it tries to sort of convey, multiple... Especially later in the game, we get to multi-tiered stages. It's trying to convey, multiple levels of stage at the same time. Okay, so now we're getting to what I think is actually... If not scary, then at least successfully tense and horror-tinged atmosphere. One of the few parts of the game I think it works really well is this whole section right here. Where you just came in and you're going after Alpha Team. I don't know why I stopped there. Yeah, again, this isn't really, it's not scary, but it's like, okay, there's gonna be something bad. It's creating the tense atmosphere. Okay, so something bad's coming up, but you're not entirely sure what it is. You have to go through this whole area and try to catch up with Alpha Team. There they are. Everything is falling apart. Guess this place was used for storage. Again, why couldn't Chris have read that out loud? Okay, something's dripping from. Yeah, that's never good. That's a sign. It's get the hell out of here. Okay, is it coming up? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think that's one of the. Is he from Alpha Team? Exclamation point, question mark. Shouldn't it be the other way around. Not entirely sure. And then the flat sort of. He's already dead.
He's dressed like a one-man army. His
How, are those two sentences supposed to be connected? Because they don't really sound... He's dressed like a one-man army. How did he, how was he killed? Shouldn't he be able to defend himself? Not, he's dressed like a one-man army, but he wasn't killed by bullets. But I think that's, good little tense thing. It's oh, shit. It's that guy just stumbles around the corner. It's you very much feel at that point, it's is whatever killed these guys, right around the next corner? Okay, I can go through that door, but there's a chest over there. Make sure to open it. Gold, gold, more gold, and that's it. Okay, another one of these doors you can only open with a partner. Little cutscene.
What the hell happened in here?
I'm not really sure why this deserves a cutscene and what else has gone on doesn't. Oh, right. I remember. I think this is supposed to be Matheson.
Hey, who did this?
Well, duh.
Irving,
That bastard.
he got away.
Presumably. Again, shouldn't it be question mark exclamation point? What's my breakfast?
Dad,
Okay, if Yeah, that's Irving running around the. You only see him in a few frames, but yeah, that's Irving. And I actually missed that the first time I was playing this game. That little Easter egg.
Hey,
I didn't even know that's
Hey, hang
an
in
Easter
there.
egg. I'm gonna just comment at this point. I can't believe I haven't mentioned. Look how big Chris's biceps are. They're like bigger than his head.
I saw someone. But
Did
they ran
her
away.
subject just say, "But they run away"? That's a bad. Yeah, Chris's. I mean, look at those. That is huge.
turkey you copy.
It's like out of proportion with like the rest of his
Got the
body.
data. But Alpha Team is
Chris was not this ripped in the earlier games. Again, he was sort of, like quarterback, or not even more, not even that. Like, he was fit definitely, but he was sort of, closer maybe like a swimmer. Yeah, not this big beefy linebacker guy.
I don't like the looks of this, but we have to keep moving.
I don't like the looks of this either. No, we don't have to keep moving. We should keep moving. Why do we have to keep moving? We'll make sure this data gets where it needs to go. Not to say the obvious, Chris, but why aren't you like taking their weapons? You've got a pistol and a shotgun. You've got one pistol and one shotgun. Not I don't mean don't mean to advocate for corpse defilement, but you could use that stuff. Okay, and there's the elevator. You gotta go slow. I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I'm just trying to see if there's any secrets out that window, which there wasn't. Elevator's always been sort of one of those. Wow, that was really quick load time. Why did the screen even go black? What was it? Elevators and doors are sort of one of those natural loading points in games. The sort of have been traditionally used to hide load screens, and I think elevators in particular I think work really well because there is, more of that stuff dripping from the wall because there is sort of a segregation. Okay, if you were paying attention, this is the room from the very beginning, from the opening cinematic where there was that masked lady and the guy with the worms over his body. This is supposed to be that room. Not really important. Well, actually, it is important. If you've been paying careful attention while playing this game up to this point, that's gonna be that should give you a clue. It's like, okay, this door is locked. I need a key. So of course the key's got to be around here. Like right? It's a video game. There's no way that like the guy who has the key could be on the other side of that door. That would make no sense. More stuff dripping. Okay. Huh. An incinerator. Yeah, that's not gonna be important later. Big barrels, whose gas cylinders. Again, this. Just forget. Like, just ignore what I'm doing. That stuff's not gonna be important. Don't worry about it. No reason the game developers will put this into the game for you to have to use. Yeah, I'm being facetious with that, but it is.
I need ammo.
Again, I'm asking for ammo because I know something's coming up. I'm being facetious because it's like that's one of those things in a game. It's like there's nothing. I'm trying to think of. I can't really think of many games where like there's something in a game that like it is not you're not gonna be able to interact with or like is important. Like that you can interact with. It's like not gonna be important. It's like that'd just be weird. Picked up the furnace key. Okay, there's a checkpoint that just came up. Am I going to? Let's see. Okay, yes. No? Yes, I am gonna try out the furnace controls. You can do it yourself, or you can get Sheva to do it. I think if you sort of been, paying, if you can sort of make simple logical leaps, and you've been paying attention to like the clues I'm sort of been giving, I think you know what's gonna happen now. But let's see if you are still. I'm gonna try to leave a bit of attention. Let's see if you can piece the puzzle together. Okay. I've got a furnace. Yeah, that's me stopping. That's me stopping and like making Chris walk slowly because I'm like trying to like emulate that, and it was like, okay, if I have a furnace and there's a bad thing around and cutscene. Nothing good ever happens in cutscenes in games. I mean, again, being somewhat facetious, but it's like whenever something goes through a cutscene, it's like the game is not gonna be the same after, either in terms of your abilities or the stakes. Okay. This is
This is unlike anything ever in a Resident Evil game. This is the one sort of new monster the game does. I'm trying to think. Am I, you know, again, am I being hyperbolic here? You know. No, I think I'm being accurate when I say this is the one new enemy the game does. It's like, gee, Chris, what gave you that? Yeah. I think this is the one new enemy that the game does. Actually, interestingly. So this enemy is called Ouroboros. Ouroboros. No one in the game actually. It's never actually pronounced the same between two scenes. I think it's Ouroboros Mahiri is what it's called. Mahiri. I could be mistaken about that. Okay, so these things. So again, it's actually not that on higher difficulties. Not on higher difficulties. On subsequent playthroughs, when we have upgraded weapons like magnums and rocket launchers and more powerful shotguns, it's actually not that difficult to kill this thing with just simple bullets. You can do it. On subsequent playthroughs, you definitely should because it drops. I think it drops unique treasure that you want for like the game, 100% completion. But seeing as this point, you've got your wimpy pistol, and your shotgun. So you have to. You don't have to, but you should definitely try to get to eat one of those barrels. Just if you just knock it over and it'll absorb it. Lure it into that thing. Blow it up like it did subsequently. And then just pull the thing. Pull the lever. After sort of a 10-second wait, it's like, crap, is it going to get out? It'll go down, and the music sounds very similar to the end of Alien. To the music from the end of Aliens. Aliens is like one of those pop culture things that's sort of rooted in the subconscious of everyone, I think, in any media sense. Now I'm going to use that up.
This thing was responsible for the death of Alpha.
Just checking. Okay, yeah, I was just double checking there to make sure that I couldn't pick up the treasure that it dropped if I incinerated it, and I couldn't. Which, like, I kind of understand. It's like, oh, if you want 100% completion, you have to beat it. But it's like, but on the other hand, like the game's sort of like almost punishing you for like doing it like the way that like it's sort of like the way that like it leads you to believe is a way to kill it. Okay. That would have been helpful before the boss fight. The big chest of ammo, but no, right after. It's not so much bad design as like, it's not even bad. It's like, what's the point of this here? It's like I don't need it anymore. Okay, quick note. Yeah, so scattered throughout the games are 30 of those little emblem things in really hidden spots that, like, if you're not looking for them, you could maybe only find 3 easily. And I just shot that one there just to demonstrate it. I'm not gonna be going when I'm doing this playthrough, going out of my way to find them, but just that you're aware that they're there. Okay, we're getting close to the end here of this video. I did the game's divided into 6 chapters, and inside each of those are 2 or 3 sub-chapters. So for this first video, I did the first 2 sort of sub-chapters, first full chapter of the game. That's Irving on the right, the guy who has the "Let's go." I think he's got a bad point. So that's the mysterious masked person on the left, who's mysterious. The first, I got it.
Got it.
What was that
Lunch?
thing?
A BOW that scumbag Irving left behind to set us up. Considering what it did to Alpha Team, I think we're lucky to still be breathing.
Only we
Yeah,
could have gone
so-
there sooner.
If
I
we had, we'd
not to
probably
speak
be
too
dead
badly
too.
about the game, because I do enjoy it. And I am going to be, playing through the rest of it. But I do think that from this
Chris,
point
to
on,
HQ, do you copy?
there's not really any horror elements left. This is sort of where, people say Resident Evil
This
4,
whole town's gone to hell.
where the whole series
People
sort of.
here, they're acting like those
Kennedy
Granada
Report, that's just a quick
detailed in
plug
the
for
Kennedy
the
report.
that's what happened during
And aside from that,
Resident Evil 4.
there's
Leon S.
something
Kennedy
new,
was the
something
protagonist of that
we've
game.
never encountered
People
before.
sort of
Our transportation has
pick
been
Resident Evil
taken out
4 sort of with the point where the game
Requesting
sort of
a
split
mission
with horror. But I think that game still has some legitimately scary bits. I think that from now on is where the series is done. That last boss battle, I think,
We're the only 2 left. You want us to go in there alone?
is the end of the game of the series Flirtation with Horror. Or at least the main games. There are a couple subsequent lesser releases. Okay, so
we just got orders from HQ that we have to be the only two to go continue the whole mission by ourselves. I was agree with Sheva. That sounds insane. So on that note, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in, watching this first video. You know, if you have any feedback or comments, questions, things you want me to talk about in the subsequent videos, you know, just leave a comment in the YouTube comments and let me know. So, just quickly saw some. I guess I jumped the gun there a little bit. I forgot exactly where this video ended. So yeah, so I'm trying to think. Anything else? Yes, I'm gonna try to do 2 of these videos a week. One on Monday, release one on Monday, one on Friday. They're probably, you know, try to keep them around an hour, maybe, you know, a couple minutes longer, just a few minutes shorter. For me, that's usually, you know, usually when I play games, I usually play them in 2-hour chunks. You know, I find personally, it's just how I sort of have always been playing games. And so I'm going to get 2 videos out of each session. So thanks a bunch for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Examine Resident Evil 5.